Yo, chat. I mean, fuck. YouTube, sorry. What's up, YouTube? You know what? I'll just fuck re-recording this. What's up, YouTube? It's been a hot minute, and welcome back to another RTA video. If you're watching this from YouTube, well, yeah, no shit. Oh my fucking god. What am I talking about right now? If you're from YouTube watching this, dude, am I stupid? Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, sorry. If you're watching this from YouTube, hello. I did say if you're from Twitch, I was closing the church, which meant that I wasn't gonna be uploading anything. But because you're from YouTube, we're gonna keep this little secret, you know? Like, from one person to another, like from one cleaver to another. Just don't leak this, okay? To the Twitch community. Now, if you're from Twitch, hello there. Anyways, no more yapping. Let's talk about why we're actually here. So, it is pretty much about RTA. And I just wanted to showcase some drafts I think could work post Ivana release. Just because you can't early pick Dean anymore. So I had to change like how I draft, right? Now I might make a updated Briar Cleave guide in the future, but for now, for cleavers out there who don't have DN, you no longer need DN in your drafts. As long as you pull for Ivana, right? Because DN is completely shut out by Ivana, so people aren't gonna early pick her anymore, which also means it's easier to cleave now. If you don't have DN. If you do have DN, obviously it's harder because you can't utilize one of the best bridges anymore, and she's essentially locked to a 4 to 5 slot, which is still like good, don't get me wrong, but the main strength of DN was how she had pretty much no counter if you're able to Briar S3 to DN S3 and like not get punished for it, right? AoE seal ignore ER, which is way too strong. But anyways, I have these 5 games. This was the first game after Ivana came out, and I got fucking rolled, as you can tell. Cannot draft DN anymore, which is a little tragic. But you have a couple drafts, as you can see here, that I think are pretty strong. So I'll talk about my draft philosophy. Also, I should make this full screen. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Boom. Boom. Oh, that made my thing huge. I hope that's the right size. Fuck it. Yeah, so as you can see, I started prioing Barunka a little bit more in my drafts if there's no DN. Just because fighting Barunka as a Briar Cleaver is pretty annoying because you can't really pick single target stuff like Salome, Gala, Spirit Eye, Seline, Flan, right? Stuff that are super good with Briar, you get locked out if they early pick Barunka. So I started taking Barunka this time and just playing from there. So as you can see, he went Byblis first pick, I went Barunka Seline, right? Seline on prot set, Barunka, so she can soul burn immediately, right? And then we see an Estelle into Ivana to try and counter my Seline S3 immortality. But the nice part about Seline versus Ivana is you can just soul burn and kill her off right away. So if that's the case, she doesn't really counter Seline, but yeah. I go Luna SBA because I can't go Briar because Briar is another immortality unit, and I didn't want to have to deal with all 30 of their passives, so I decided to play Luna that could just seal off all these, right? And then I pick a control on 4 because I already have a DPS that can't die on 2. So if he goes like Giros or Bois, they're actually bad 4 or 5 picks because I have Spirit Eye, right? Then I can force out the draft with like a free run 5, right? And then his entire draft is just dead. So SB is a pretty strong 4, I think, if he doesn't contest speed. And he ends up drafting Sage Ball plus Acades. Now, the thing about those two picks is they're really bad into Barunka. So if you pick like this, you have to either ban Barunka and hope my last pick is bad, or ban my last pick and just fight through the Barunka, which is what he ended up doing. So I had a really good 5th pick. Obviously Roana's a force ban, because Roana will just shut down this entire 4, and then either Spirit Eye or SBA can just clean up the rest from there. Yeah. So knowing this, since Sage Ball and Acades are pretty much the same character, I ended up banning the Byblis, right? Because she can cleanse the seal eventually after 3 turns, which is really, really annoying. So I just ended up banning that, and then their only cleanse would be the Acades, but I can play like a good rotation and hopefully get a seal off, right? So it's a pretty long game. This is definitely not cleave, but whatever. So yeah, Luna takes the first turn, and obviously I can't S3, right? The Acades could be on Idol's Cheer, it could be on, or not, sorry, it could be on Eternus or Soulcon or anything like that, so just S2 for now, and then play the long game. Sage Ball ends up Sober and S2ing. And because my Barunka's on ER, ends up resisting, thankfully. The Sage Ball had like really high HP and speed, but not much F. So I'm guessing it also had decent ER as well. So yeah, he S3s, I ended up eating that shit because I'm on proof. And because I wasn't debuffed, so yeah, it doesn't really do much damage. And I take this opportunity to S3 and get defense buff up. Right, so now my Barunka is in a pretty decent spot. And Acades, she takes her turn here, but she can S2, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so S2 on the Estelle, and she ends up going for the S1, I guess just to save hold her S3. And again, Acades takes another turn, but it doesn't matter again here, right? And now Barunka takes another turn. S1 the Ivana, because I don't want to get countered on Estelle. And then here I S3, just so I can force the Ivana to press S3 on her turn. Because they have 2 cleanses, right? So I force 1 cleanse off of this. Right, stun everyone. Oh, I didn't stun anyone actually. And Ivana goes. She S3s just to cleanse out the burns. Right, now she gets immunity and no damage sharing. Now, I actually make a small misplay with my Seline here. I end up S3ing with just proccing Ivana's passive. I completely forgot about that. But if I were to look back at this match, I think I would have just normal S1. And then wait till my Luna gets S3, right? Because my Luna eventually gets a good rotation with Seline. I think it's off of this turn here. Here, right? I proc Gab, so I didn't have to S3. But yeah, now I proc the Ivana passive, which is kind of annoying, but at least she already pressed her buttons, right? So it's fine. Here I S2 again, right? Because the Acades was at 40% CR. So if I S2 first, Acades will cut in front of me, like this. And then it puts my Luna in a really good spot, tuning wise with the Spirit Eye. So I can seal after Acades takes her turn. So I just S1. I ended up being Bastion of Hope Acades, let's see. S1 again. Hey. Sage Ball still doesn't have skills. Force S1. And here, now's the time I sober. Right? This is the perfect time. Acades in the back, Ivana's in the back, Sage Ball is in the back. And my Seline can just pop off here. Proc Gab. And obviously I have to focus on Acades, right? Because she has the cleanse. So send one on her. Kill her off again. And then I go for, I believe, the Sage Ball. Yeah, because it's the only other damage dealer. Because the style's sealed, so I don't really care about style anymore. And I was debating S3ing, but I ended up just going for the S1 again. Just because I thought it would kill, but it doesn't. Which is a little annoying. But again, my Barunka's on ER, so even if he's over in S2s here, I'm able to tank this. Or resist this, sorry. Because he has so much fucking ER, that Sage Ball, for some reason. And then again, this S3 does no damage. It's 10k this time. So yeah. Now we can kill off the Sage Ball. And even if my team is asleep, like, it doesn't matter. It's the procs. Kills off that. Oh, it doesn't even kill. Wait. And then I can S1, right? And S1 again. But yeah, at this point it was over, right? Even if my Barunka died, like, Ivana can't kill anything, even if she Dragon Duel. No, she doesn't even Dragon Duel. S2 here. Ivana, try to get a defense break, I don't, which is fine. And then I get S3 up again, so now it's like actually over. Stun. And then I can S3 my Seline, bring back my Barunka. Ends up FFing there. So yeah. I don't think Ivana's a good pick into Seline. I think versus Scales, if you have a counter attacker, or versus DN straight up, I think those are the good times Ivana's really good. Now going to the next match against Shonaka. And this is the draft philosophy that I'm going to be going with, I think, for the most part. It's a high F Byblis first pick, because I play Freerun a lot. So I want to take away the counter to Freerun, which is Byblis. Right. Unless Scales is open, then I'll take Scales. But I'm FP, so I take Byblis. He ends up going Barunka Yulha. I end up going Freerun Briar. And he ends up going Arya plus Veda. So Arya on 3 means I have to draft 2 more books, right? So I can Silver my Briar. Otherwise, he's just going to resist everything. Veda also makes it, so I have to take fast bridges with Briar on book, right? Stuff that'll take the turn even if Veda procs guide. So obviously DN is one of them, right? This is where I said DN ends up being a good 4 to 5 pick. And then the other book is Rowana. Because even if he like let's say he bans DN, like in this case, right? Then I can just Silver my Briar. Rowana pushes back the Veda, and then Freerun can take her turn and nuke everything. Let's say he bans the Rowana, then I get a Briar DN Freerun combo that he automatically loses. If he bans Freerun, it's also fine because I can Silver my Briar. DN will go first, right? DN will go in front of the Rowana. DN presses S3, seals everything, and then Rowana pushes back. And then Byblis is also here to provoke everything again. So it's just a lot of CC and seals and death broken targets that DN's hitting that it also ends up being too much damage as well. So no matter what he banned, as long as I landed my debuffs, he was pretty much cooked. So yeah, he ends up banning the DN. I banned the Ivana obviously because it's counter to the DN. Soulburn Briar. And then Rana goes. It is guide to decision Veda, as we see. Thankfully we do push back, and that's pretty much GG. So I rip this S3. Right. Top those, and then Byblis S3 would have killed off the Arya and Barunka, and then Veda can't 1v2 the Byblis plus Briar. So yeah, that was a pretty good draft as well. Against Daystart, this one I did get pretty lucky. I essentially outspent his opener with an imprint. But this is one of those scenarios where I'm still trying to learn what I want to do. Because I take Byblis and then he goes free run RV. So obviously I wanted Briar. But I was still afraid of him going Barunka. So I take the Barunka into Briar, but he ends up going Lua plus imprint. Now, the reason why I can't go imprint myself on 4-5 is because none of the imprints I pick in Bridge versus free run plus ML Lua, their passives together means when I S3 to push up my imprint, they also get a 20% push. So I have to take guaranteed bridges instead. So one of them is Dian and the other one is Blitica, right? They're both guaranteed bridges against free run plus Lua. And I kind of just had to hope I won the race, which I ended up doing. The speed RNG definitely wasn't my favor, but it was 3%. So I'm guessing this Lua was like on slower gear. I'm guessing like 300 speed. Is my guess at least. Or I just got really lucky. One of the two. But yeah, I mean I guess I can show it. Pretty much Briar got to Soulburn and Dian got to S3 and the game was over. So these ones are interesting though. So we see Barunka plus Byblis pre-ban. What does that mean? It means pretty much they want to play Zio, especially if you see Barunka pre-ban. Barunka plus 1 usually indicates they want to play Zio. So I knew that in the back of my head when I was like first picking my scales. So I take it because it's still the best first pick. And he ends up going Freerin plus Cigarette. And that immediately told me that, oh, he wants to play Zio, right? Like Cigarette is really strong with Zio, and Freeman is also pretty strong with Zio. So I take another really good Zio bridge, which is Salome. Or not a bridge, but a unit that works really well with Zio. Especially with no Barunka. I take the Salome plus the Zio. Right? And just see what my opponent does as a response. I could take bridges 4 or 5. So my opponent goes Acades, which if you see Acades into Zio, it means 100% they're on Idol Share. And I knew that as well because I use Acades against Zio all the time. I also knew that if he picked Acades on 3 like this, that means that Freerin is really high speed. So that Freerin can cut after the Idol Share push. And he goes AU Fiend to obviously help with the Idol Share push, right? Because I can draft like CR cut myself, and then the Idol Share won't push, and Katie's won't push as much, so he ends up going AU Fiend. So, knowing all this information, I had to take, again, guaranteed bridges that don't care about CR cut, and stuff that can push back, hopefully. So Blitica again is one of them, right? Blitica can push back all 4. Assuming the Cigarette's not on immunity, it'll push back even on miss, and it applies restrict too. So and unbuffable. So Acades won't be able to push, Freerin won't be able to push, and then I'll be able to land unbuffable on AU Fiend and restrict on all of them, right? Which also means that if Freeman's restricted, if she S3s, she'll go to 0 CR, which is really, really nice for me. So yeah, Blitica was a really good pick here. Taeyu was the other really good pick, right? Because Taeyu is the other guaranteed bridge against this team, where he gets 50 CR, and because I'm the fast Taeyu build, even if Acades is like insanely fast, it's not enough to push out 50 CR versus 20, right? And after Taeyu presses S3, I could just kill off the Acades, and then my Salome or my Blitica can follow up after and get a kill. Right. So yeah, these two are pretty solid 4-5s into this draft. He ends up banning Salome, which I think was the wrong ban, but I think no matter what he banned, he was cooked. Right. Akades AU Fiend is no longer a good anti-cleave, in my opinion. I think if you want like Akades Fada, it might have been a little bit better. Yeah, so I soulburned my Zeo. Right, into the AU Fiend. Let me explain why. So I go obviously into the AU Fiend because I don't want to trigger CR for anyone, right? If I soulburn into the Akades, then I trigger Idle Steer Push, one Idle Steer Push on the free Ren. If I soulburn on free Ren, then they get a free 10 CR push on everyone. I can't obviously soulburn on Sigrid because of what do you call it? Evasion, so I can miss. So AU Fiend's the best target. Even if AU Fiend counters, it's fine because I have immortality, so I'm not gonna die, so who cares? So yeah, go on that. Take soulburn. And I kill off the Sigrid here. Right? It's the only thing that stops my team from taking the turn, so kill her off. And Scales gets to go. I'm at 9 souls, so if I S3, I can get enough souls to soulburn my Politica onto the Akades. Right, so that goes. Politica goes. And we soulburn onto the Akades here. Right, so she misses her turn. And again, she's unbuffable and restricted, so this S3 doesn't do anything, right? And I have scales too. So yeah. Presses and nothing happens, and Teiyu counters. Oh, this was ER Frenzy too, so he doesn't strip anything either. Right, and you see how she's at 0 CR? Because of the restrict, which is pretty nice. Now Zeo, I go for the Akades here. So I didn't want to get countered on an AU Fiend. And here, I can finish off the AU Fiend with the S3. And it ends up being reversal holy sack. I was like, what the fuck? But she doesn't have enough fighting spirit. So she can only S1. And then she gets countered. Even if she had S3, it doesn't matter. Because once she presses S3, Teiyu just counters and kills her off again. So whether she had it or not didn't matter at all. And then we soulburn the Scales, fear her off. And then yeah, it's pretty much GG. Zeo was coming up. Double abundance proc. It's pretty much gonna kill. If not, Politica was still about to take her turn as well. So yeah, pretty nice Zeo cleave there. The last match is against Epity from Korea server. So, ER Frenzy, which meant I want to take book early, right? He first picks Nodos, which is pretty standard, pretty normal. I look at pre-bans, Eula plus Byblis. So Freeren's value is really, really high, once again, if Byblis is pre-banned. So I take Freeren plus Scales. Right. Best first two picks, post Ivana, I would say. And he goes Fada Arunka. So I knew this is probably guide to decision. And I slam Briar because this is probably Holy Sack Nodos. And I slam Cavil, right? I think Cavil's always a good, one of the best forwards you can go if you have Freeren early, especially with Cavil as well. And he ends up drafting Elena, which is a force span most of the time. And then he ends up drafting Amiki. Now Amiki was pretty bad because Amiki loses to Scales Briar, right? If you don't know how Scales Briar works, I get 2 immortality stacks. So if Briar goes to 1 HP, she gets the immortality from Scales. And then after she cycles out of her turn, she gets another immortality stack from her own passive. So you buy so many turns of 70% mitigation for your team. And Amiki, unfortunately, just takes... She cannot break through that in time. So yeah, Amiki's bad into Scales. So I just needed another book, again, right? I have 1 book here, so I need a second book so I can soulburn in case he bans Freeren. So I needed a book that can crit, right, to proc Cavil in case he bans Freeren. That can also guarantee bridge, right? And I ended up picking SBA. Now, SBA herself can't bridge versus Guide Ada. But if I have Lady, then she can bridge. Because it'll go Briar, Soulburn, into Lady S3, into SBA, right? Then she can take her turn. So she works really strong with Lady in this composition. If they ban Lady like here, then my bridge for SBA will be Cavill. So Briar Soulburn goes, and then Cavill goes, right, off of the proc of S2, and then SBA will go right after, because she'll get another 15% push. So either way, no matter what they ban, SBA will guarantee a turn. If they ban Cavill, then I get Briar Soulburn with Lady, into SBA S3, into Freerun S3, and it's like GG that way too, right? Amiki can't do anything. And if they ban Lady like this, how I can play it out is, I guess I could just show it. Right, Crown of Glory. It was Book Ada, but I was assuming it was Guide Fada. Like, if it was Guide Fada, it didn't matter either. Soulburn Briar. And then Tooth Procs. And then this goes, right? Procs Amiki to 1 HP. And then I mentioned before, right? My guaranteed bridge with SBA is to Cavill, because she'll get another 15% push. I get countered. He actually dies straight up, which is crazy. And now SBA can stun the Amiki and it's over. Yeah. And then yeah, GG, because she can't do anything. And then that is pretty much 33-29. So yeah, I think I'm doing pretty well this season, I can't lie. Like, my win rate is definitely higher than normal. Usually it's like high 50s, but 63 is honestly pretty good for me. It's definitely annoying that I can't draft DN early anymore, right? Because DN's scales was so broken. Like, Freerun DN was also really broken, but playing Freerun Lady, it's like, it is normal. I usually always do this as well, but we just have to play DN on 4 or 5 now, which is like, it is what it is, right? At least she'll always be strong in that case. And yeah, I hope if you're simulating my style for Cleaves, I hope some of these ideas got to help you a tiny bit. I also hope all y'all's push for this season is going well. We have like a month left of the season, so yeah, make sure to get your games in and practice so y'all can get the frame that you want. Right. Everyone's hyping up this frame, so you gotta get the good one. Anyways, I will have more RTA content releasing in the future. I don't know when. Do not ask, because I cannot promise anything. But yeah, hope y'all have a good rest of your day, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.